Back over here, Amy Coney Barrett urged to step back from LGBTQ plus Supreme Court case over anti-gay beliefs. That's interesting that she's being asked to recuse herself. Is she going to do it?
Unlikely, because one of the things that we have seen about this bench in the Supreme Court is some of the most openly opinionated judges coming right out and saying, these are my beliefs, these are the things that I stick by, and I'm going to make decisions, that are impacted by the way that I believe. And this really does set up a constitutional crisis issue, because we don't have a completely impartial Supreme Court right now. We've seen 2 or 3 different justices come out and put themselves in a place of saying, this is what I believe, and you can't tell me to stop. Amy Coney Barrett has been very vocal in her opinions against the LGBTQ plus community, as well as abortion. In fact, when she was being questioned for her confirmation hearings, she was pointedly asked questions about her opinions about abortion, and essentially she perjured herself before the confirmation hearings, saying, that her opinions and her beliefs are not going to make any impact on those things. Yet we see that very same thing happening right now. We see her actually carrying through with that. So it is very possible that there will not be any self-recusing by any of the justices. We have not seen Clarence Thomas recuse himself in the case involving his own wife. So it's very impossible to see any of these individuals, because they are all sort of protecting and backing one another and keeping one another, sort of bolstered in this opinion. In fact, one of the other justices actually did a video where he said that traditional family and understanding of marriage is under a threat in this country. And that is unheard of in terms of a Supreme Court justice coming right out and saying people of faith are being attacked for their faith. And it's like, this is across a line that I don't know that anybody knows what to do with.
It's not at all surprising, considering that when we saw all of these hearings for these judges, they wouldn't answer any of the questions. They
Right.
dodged and ducked and dove. What are the dodgeball movie thing? The 5 things of dodgeball. But yeah, they were just so wily and flexible in the way they dodged all the questions and didn't actually give us any true answers of who they were, so that they could get past that selection process. And then all of a sudden their colors have changed completely. They're like, no, I have these values and I'm holding to them and I'm not ever going to change. And it's like, would have been really interesting to hear that in those in those hearings, in those initial interviews.
Right. Yeah. It's funny that their convictions were amorphous, during confirmation hearing when they're under oath, but their convictions and their belief systems are very much an important part of how they make decisions after they're confirmed and sitting on the bench.
Yeah, and just so interesting that they are absolutely incapable of speculation, apparently, in those interviews, and yet afterwards they're willing to speculate and say, "Oh, I think we're going to do this and this and this and overturn this," or "I believe we should do this," and it's just like, you slimy people.